live. It's not the time to say wait. Oh my gosh. How upsetting. Alright, welcome to season number 3 of the Champion Forge, where you get to design your own League of Legends champion. I am Cast, as always, joined by ever-present and ever-wonderful Castexus, and I guess officially for the first time, I mean, you were here last time, but that wasn't episode 1, so it was a forbidden episode.
Forbidden episode.
Yes, forbidden episode. But for today, Roger. Well, how are you both doing?
You go first, Sodas.
Well, I yelled at a lot of people today. I said through the phone. I apologized beforehand because I said, look, it's not per se your fault, but you're the guy I have on the phone, so you're gonna get the full load of Exodus Wrath. Didn't phrase it quite that way, but that was what happened. So, besides that, I had a pretty good day. How you been, Roger?
So actually today I woke up quite early for my standard. I woke up at 11 a.m. so I was quite busy today. Like a lot of grocery shopping and yeah, farming in some games and looking at pretty graphic design. So yeah, my day has been great. Check out my pretty earrings. Made them myself from peacock feathers.
So
Yeah.
what did you have to do to the peacocks to get those feathers?
Oh boy. No, I didn't do anything to them. I was in you know those like animal parks where you can there's like a bunch of animals walking around. I petted some little goats. A baby goat fell asleep on my lap, and then I found one pretty peacock feather and was like, I want to find more. And then I kept like half an hour walking around, and I found more of those. And I also found actually one, with the peacock with the eye in it, so like a really, really nice peacock feather. So that's like a really proud moment of mine. And then I was like, oh, these look pretty together. And then I made earrings out of them.
Well,
Why are you always so productive? I am never productive.
Let's just say I have too many hobbies and they always keep me busy. That's not being productive. That's just like trying to get stay updated with one hobby while other 5 hobbies are like in the corner waiting for attention.
well, I suppose we best get to things today. So the big thing coming into episode 1 of season 3, of course, is that we spent some time with Riot Feral Pony, learning some of his tips and tricks about how to actually do champion design properly, because we've been doing it for 2 seasons with really no guidance whatsoever, and the results have varied somewhat. I mean, we talked about this a little bit in episode 0, but Exodus, kind of, where are we now? Where would we like to be longer term?
You mean on champion design, or do you mean Colin on her own?
Oh, I mean more generally in terms of us as champion designers.
Okay, so with everything Feral Pony discussed, it was a lot to take in for me personally, especially since my ADHD brain sometimes has difficulty processing. Some stuff I really, really remember. I was like, yeah, this is great. Some of the stuff, as you, for example, before the show started, you said, hey, remember this thing? No, absolutely not. So I think the best way of phrasing it is we want to make something. We want to be in a spot where this is sort of, not really, but sort of a viable pitch as a champion. Where we can say, this is a viable pitch. You could say this in a creative content meeting, creative design meeting. Yeah, sure, we'll give it a look. But not... that being said, we're going to have loads of fun, though. I think that's the most important stuff. We are not working for Riot. I think the most important stuff is we just create something that is fun and interesting to look at, and we explore ideas that are fun and interesting. And if you guys are watching us and you think, wow, this is actually cool, join our Discord, which will be plugged a lot this episode. Just heads up for that.
Yeah, that's Discord. So that Discord you can access by tiny.cc/championforge into your browser, just making sure it's actually showing up on all of our screens. There we go. It is. Wonderful. All right, so this is going to be a little bit different here today because we did some of our design work for this champion as part of episode 0, though we didn't get tremendously far because there was just too much good stuff coming from Feral Pony, sort of in terms of theoretical stuff, for us to get too far down the actual design line. But what we have got on screen right now, and there'll be links to this in the audio version, if I can get that set up, is the kind of the graphics we've got right now for Cullen. Actually, do you have the picture we had from the end of the last session as well?
Yeah, I can open it. There.
There we go.
There we
So,
go.
can you run us through like what was like what was your inspiration here?
So, the inspiration was like, okay, we're gonna do a fridge. It was like, great.
You were thrilled by the idea immediately. That's what you prepared for. Yeah.
Yes, because like he was like, oh yeah, let's just do a fridge. I'm like, sure, yeah, perfect, okay. And then I was just like, and then we were like talking about, yeah, what is she gonna be like, you know? And then we kind of like went, or like I personally went with the idea of her being like the mechanic, you know, who tries to handle the fridge, and like her life, or like her energy, like, you know, is like halfly sucked into the fridge. That's why, for example, she has those black icy veins, you know, because the fridge is like getting to her. Also noticeable in her face here. And so, you know, I try to make her look a bit like the mechanic who's like carrying around the fridge, and, you know, one glove is still protecting her, the other arm is just completely succumbed to it. And then we said, yeah, she's the fridge is gonna, like, you know, maybe eat something, and we're like, okay, let's just bring in a minion for, like, you know, for the measurement, and just a little minion in it. And then we were also talking about brand, you know, because what if we get sponsored? And now it's not called KitchenAid, it's called Summoner's Aid, you know.
Brilliant.
And yeah, and what's still in my mind is that the fridge is still too small, apparently. And the fridge has
Yes,
to be
Feral Pony was
bigger.
very, very insistent. It must be larger.
Cullen
No, but I
requires
think-
more land.
Yeah, but he said, like, you know, that like that it always has like those trickery designs, you know, that in game, for example, like Katarina's blades, like he said, that they are actually that big that you could actually hold one blade with both hands, you know, but for her that's like daggers, even though they're huge. So I guess in game, you know, it would still look different, and we could make it you know, we could make it look as if the fridge is technically bigger, and then of course on splash art you can draw it tremendously huge, you know, and yeah.
Yeah, if I was working on the champion design team and I was pitching Colin with the idea of the fridge, I would go, you know what? Let the technical team figure this one out.
Not my job.
Not my freaking job.
Yeah, I'm just here to make it look pretty, and yeah.
So I
And
guess.
today,
Well,
sorry.
so I think for something way down the line, I don't think we're going to get around to it really today. I guess we can start sort of thinking about what this champion is, you know, would maybe look like in game. But I think that's probably going to be quite a large leap from, you know, concept art to in-game models. So I think that's maybe something if we have like employ an entire team of artists to be able to turn that around in the duration of the stream. Alright, to what we're going on here today. Hey Gorilla, welcome to the stream. So, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be taking our initial ideas about Cullen, inventor of the fridge, who's probably not going to be called that, and hopefully we can figure out a much better name by the end. And
Fridge lady.
Yes, just she's a lady, she's got a fridge. I don't know, what do you want from us? And actually come up with some abilities, maybe some background, and hopefully we can use some of the stuff that Feral Pony taught us about to actually kind of create some gameplay ideas for her, which will be more compelling than just kind of what we've done previously, which is more or less just kind of come up with a bunch of abilities and say, we're done.
Yeah.
Full disclaimer, I'm not gonna animate anything. I'm not that far
I
into
don't think
the
anyone was
material.
expecting that, no.
Oh, you're not gonna do hours and hours of free labor for us just for the stream, Roger? How dare you?
Yes,
dare you.
you pay me with exposure.
Don't spend all those exposure bucks at once.
Yeah.
Alright, so I guess the big thing, as we now come into thinking about the design stuff here is, we've got, I think first of all, we're going to try and figure out, the big thing is, are we top down or bottom up with this design? So just to reiterate for Gorilla and anyone else who might not be here last week, so top down being that we're kind of coming in with a concept, and that's kind of the foundational piece of it, and bottom up being, which can still come in with a concept, but the mechanics are like the core part of the champion, and everything else flows from there. So how are you feeling about this, Exodus and Roger? Like, you know, is this a champion whose thematic is strong enough to be able to be the foundation, or do we come at it from the other direction?
That's quite difficult for me to say, because this is also like the first time I work on like something like a champion. But I like both ideas kind of, because, you know, if you do it top bottom, then you can, as an artist, can like bring like ideas to the table, like, hey, look, I had this idea once, like, could we make something out of it? But on the other hand, I also enjoy if it's like bottom to top, because people tell me like, yeah, the idea of the character is like this and this and this, and then I'm like, this like gives this sparks something in my brain, I can work with that. So it's like, I like both. I'm not good with making decisions.
I think, to be fair, like, so this is one of the things we thought was going to happen after we talked to Feral Pony. It's kind of like if we're being taught a new language or something. Because basically that is what we're being taught. Is our first kind of steps in are going to be almost certainly wrong. So please don't take anything we do here as being correct. I would just, like, I think as long as we have a reason for what we're doing, then that's fine. It doesn't need to be right. It just needs to have a reason, and to be considered one way or the other. So if you're going to tip over 51% in the other direction, Roger, even if it's just to come up with a reason you find compelling that we should do it as a, you know, is it more, I guess it's like, the question maybe is it more important that she's a ice fridge lady, or do we have some kind of icy mechanics that could be, say, applied, maybe potentially could be applied to a different champion, which we're going to use here?
I'm fine with either. Like, I'm fine with like saying, like this idea, let's try to work around it. Or I'm also fine with like when you say, hey, because you guys are the ones, you know, who like trying to come up with abilities for her, you know, and I'm just gonna make them pretty. So I like to think of it like that, you know, like you guys give me the input, be like, hey, can you draw something like, you know, when she like bonks someone, or like her ultimate when she like spills cooling liquid, you know?
Roger, make
like
this
that.
look pretty.
All right, then I'll pitch the same question to you, Exodus. I mean, I have an opinion already, but I don't want to kind of override people's opinions before they come out. What are you feeling like?
Now, this is very okay. So let me get this straight again, because if we're gonna start using these terms, I at least want to use them correctly. So bottom down is a thematical influence.
So top down.
Top down, sorry.
So that would be that we're coming from the thematic first of all, like that's our touchstone.
Up, yeah,
and bottom up is
mechanically.
Yeah, is that we've got like a particular system we want to put in place. Like, for example, you know, we want an energy-based champion or something similar like that.
So this is a little bit of both, although I really think it hints more towards a top-down approach. Because we started where we really one element we really wanted in there was the fridge. So it's, okay, cool. Yeah, the fridge is the one thing that is absolutely necessary in there, because we discussed it. However, there is some interesting stuff in there, because we said, you know, the ice mechanic needs to be in there. That absolutely flows from the fact that she carries a freaking fridge around. But it is something where, you know, okay, because the ice mechanic needs to be in there, she needs to be something that has to do with slowing. So there needs to be at least a slow in there, and needs something that relates to that ice mechanic. So I would say, or preserving, I think we talked about putting potentially honey fruit. She might have the ability to put honey fruit or whatever she finds in the fridge. So it's a combination of, we started with this is what she looks like, this is what she carries, and then very much how do we translate this into mechanics.
Okay, no, I would definitely agree. It very much to me feels like a top-down one, because I feel like the fact that she's carrying a giant, apparently very scary-looking fridge on her back is informing what the abilities are rather than the other way around. And Gorilla had a good point as well. which is to talk about some of the sort of ice-related inspirations we can use. So Mr. Freeze from the Batman universe, absolutely.
Sorry.
Yes.
Frozone.
Yeah, Frozone, absolutely.
Oh,
Honey,
Frozone,
where's
yeah.
my super suit?
Frozone.
Where's that it should be. There should be a pun in there where she goes, "Honey, where's my super fridge?" or something.
Yeah. Any other? I guess there's what's the name of the lady from Frozen? Elsa.
Elsa, yeah.
Okay.
Sponsored skins. Sponsored skins.
Yeah, I mean, let's make it happen.
Yes! Give the fridge an Elsa skin. Oh my god.
Yes, it should definitely be the fridge in a beautiful blue dress and
Oh my god. I can
Cullen
see
in
it.
a snowman costume.
And she has to go. She has to go. It went bad, so I had to let it go, or something along those lines. A let it
Yes.
go reference somewhere in there.
Or her, when she carries the fridge, she's like, the cold never bothered me anyway, you know?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we've already got a line. So, all right. Well, that's handy. See, this is
But I'm already working on a Halloween skin now. You can't make me change it.
no, it's fine. I feel like it could probably be a general line anyway. No, that's fantastic. So I'll put it in as a separate part. So we're gonna have a little voice acting challenge at the end here today.
Oh no.
Roger, this is going to be your job. You know this.
I mean, Exodus, there's nothing stopping you from being the
What?
fridge.
I can be the fridge.
Oops. I don't think I can lock that in
Welcome
place.
to Summoner's Rift, where current temperatures are 42 degrees.
Killer Frost from
40%
DC.
chance of a snowstorm.
There is 1% chance of a snowstorm and top lane inting.
Do you guys know who Killer Frost from DC Comics is? I've not heard of them.
Nope.
No.
Sorry.
Could Gorilla, if you could let us know what Killer Frost's
I'll
deal
quickly
is.
look him up. I'll be the guy in the chair. I'll look up all the stuff.
All right. So I guess we can have other things that are fridge related or like at the moment we've kind of got quite cold related. Do we have anything that's fridge related specifically? Are there any pieces of media that involve fridges?
Media.
Oh, the Indiana Jones.
Yeah, we talked about Indiana Jones stuff.
So that's the Indiana Jones saving yourself from a nuclear blast inside a fridge.
Yeah. Okay, let me think. What's something else?
Safety fridge, we'll call it.
Safety fridge. I mean the lights, like does the light?
Oh yes, yep. Lights
the light
going
in the
off.
fridge is something that's very clear. Oh, what's something else? She could actually. So do you remember? So do you know those very fancy fridges where they have glass doors where you can basically look into the fridge?
What?
I'm not
Stuff like
that fancy.
exists?
I'm not that wealthy either, by the way. But okay, let me look for it. So you have these fridges where you can basically look into them. So
What?
no,
That's fancy as
let
fuck.
me look for an image and then I'll send it to Pete, and he can put it up on the stream. Fridge glass.
Okay. I don't know if that's gonna be immediately usable, but I think that we've hit the main things there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's someone from the Flash series. Okay. I don't know if Killer Frost is different enough from Mr. Freeze, but Gorilla, if you know anything particularly interesting about Killer Frost that kind of makes them unique as far as how they use their abilities and things like that, that's ideal because we can try and take inspiration from the way that people use cold in media. But all right, so we've got at least some inspirations. We'll not hang on them for too long. So we may not be able to answer this at this point, but I think it's worth us trying here. So if we're going for top-down design, so lady and a fridge.
Lady in the fridge.
So let's see. So we don't necessarily need to worry about mechanics, but So Roger, if you just take it as given that any question I ask will also be open to you, but I won't necessarily expect you to answer every question. Especially if you're actually busy drawing some very cool looking stuff on the
You're
bomber.
actually being because compared to me, you're actually being productive.
Yes. So, if we think of a lady and a fridge, like, what kind of stuff comes to mind in terms of the not necessarily specific abilities, but what kinds of things that she could do? I mean, we can kind of fill this in to an extent already because we've already discussed this previously. But what stuff do we have right now?
Okay, so she's putting stuff in there.
Storing food. Yep.
Yeah, storing food. Freezing stuff.
Cooling liquid that like slows.
Cooling liquid. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Coolant liquid. Yeah, this is good because so we're gonna use all of these kind of ideas to inform the stuff we're doing later on. So this is all really good stuff. So I guess, yeah, okay, so Gorilla's saying that the Killer Frost, so her thing is cryogenics. So I guess cryogenics a little, I think I'll include it. It's genics. It's a little further away from fridge. That's like, so what's the thing? I feel like what we're actually talking about here is actually more of a freezer than it is a fridge. Oh, hello. We seem to have lost Exodus. All right. I'm sure we'll come back at some point. I don't know.
We lost him.
Oh no, he's.
Yesterday was the vape. Today it's his PC.
All right. Well, either way around it. So yeah, so cryogenics I think is good as well. So yeah, we're somewhere in the middle of a fridge and a freezer in terms of things. So storing food, freezing things, having coolant liquid, cryogenics, fridges.
Eating minions.
Yeah. So devouring things.
Yeah, it was like wasn't it like the concept for like eating the minions to like recharge the thing to like, you know, give them out honey fruits or meat for the allied champions.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I think also potentially fridges falling on people.
Oh yeah.
It's
like yeet it across the map.
Yeah. It's like the whole thing of the snack machine where that tips over on someone. It's not so much of a thing for fridges, but it could be. And also riding on fridges was something which I thought of last session.
Oh yeah. Well, like at the recall.
Yeah, well, I was thinking of actually using it as like a core movement mechanic of scooting around the place on a fridge.
Okay. Good thing I'm here for concept art, not for technical design.
Yeah, fridge skateboard, Gorilla. Fridge skateboard, that's what I'm here for. Hey, Exodus, are you back with us?
Stream to X's.
Doesn't like it yet. You're muted, Exodus, in case you do not realise.
Sorry, I did not realize.
There we go. We're figuring it
I'm
out.
back.
Hey, so yeah, we've gone through a couple more things as like in terms of conceptually what stuff we could have that a lady in a fridge could do. Some of these are more out there than others.
Lady in the Fridge sounds like a Disney movie. It's like Beauty and the Beast. Lady in the Fridge, like.
Oh,
Actually, yeah, that Viking. This
yeah.
is something we completely skipped. Where she can actually manipulate the wave state with freezing stuff. That's actually really smart, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I like that. I really like the idea. So actually, I'm going to include people's names with the
Hi,
suggestions they come up with.
It's my roommate.
Aw. That's very cool of them to come along and provide some good stuff. Yeah, see, this is great. This is why we're all thinking together. We're coming up with some stuff we wouldn't have thought
Yes.
otherwise. Actually, that's actually a really cool idea for a mechanic. Like that you could lock rather. So it's not as punishing as like being able to delete a wave, but just being able to literally freeze a wave in place. Would be it's kind of like proxying a wave, but just not in a permanent fashion.
Okay, so I have an idea for mechanic then. What if you freeze minions? I could put them in the fridge or whatever, we talked about it, but what if you literally freeze a minion into place? It becomes untargetable for so many seconds, and that way you can build up a big wave crashing into an enemy turret. There's going to be some tweaking there, so you can't make it too overpowered. But let's say, for example, if you freeze 2 cannon minions, at a certain point, that is going to be... You'll have an auto push into the enemy turret.
I think that's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'd say at this point, we're going to have a lot of ideas which won't necessarily all work together, but it's great to have all of these things kind of coming out so we can then sort of pick and choose. And ideally, if something's like the whole thing of freezing waves, like this is such a good idea for such a cool concept that I immediately worry that it might be too like, well, it's just like it would be too good in terms of like it would be too central to what the champion was that it would need to be central to that kit.
If we don't use the freezing waves mechanics in this champion, we'll definitely be coming back. It's really cool, yeah.
Well, I'm thinking that, so yeah, it's a really good mechanic.
Discord.
No, that Viking, it's a great. You see, you meant it as a joke, and now we've never let it go. Like, so I think I think it would make sense for certain situations, for like if it's for the purposes of late manipulation, freezing minions, then that would not make any sense. For example, for a jungler, like
No.
you immediately say if we're going to have that be part of the kit, it can't be a jungler anymore. So it's really, really good. But let's keep going. If there's any other stuff that occurs to anyone as to sort of avenues we could explore with being a fridge lady, she could just pick up giant things because she's carrying something giant already.
Yeah.
She could always pick up another thing.
Expelling heat.
Oh yes, you had that idea before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Feral Pony saying that like this probably wasn't like technically
It
accurate
won't
with
be
the way.
like connected to a fridge lady.
Well, it is, because, a fridge is warm on the other end. Yeah, I don't know, whatever.
No, I
You're
think
an engineer. That's why you know that. But like,
yeah, no, I think that's what Feral Pony said, was that it was technically correct, but people might not understand the connection between it being like that's while it would technically true. It's
You know what? Fine. I'll submit to this. Fine.
I mean, if the problem is that you're too smart about the whole thing, then there are worse problems you could have.
Too smart,
I think, to be fair, like I think people would probably understand the idea of expelling heat if it was combined with freezing. Like, so if you had an ability like maybe like a Thresh Flay or something, where you've got a front. Well, that's maybe not the best idea, but where you've got effect to the front and to the back of you. Then I could understand people would be like, okay, hot goes with cold in this sort of instance. But I think if you just had a heat thing, they would be like, why is there a giant heat thing coming out of it?
But maybe you can do something where she slows somebody. And this is seriously, if you guys don't like this idea, please cut me off. But where she makes something, so she opens a fridge or whatever, or does something where she slows somebody in front of her, and allies behind her get sped up. And that's like the cold versus heat mechanic. I don't know if it's a good thing.
I think it's very, very much worth considering.
Okay, cool.
All right, cool. So we've got a bunch of stuff to work with. Again, this does not need to be an exclusive list by any means, but it's good that we've kind of got it. So I'll shrink it down a little bit. And so, bearing in mind the stuff that we've got there, let's start looking down our list of other things we've got. So we've hit our high level direction here, which is Lady with a Fridge. God only knows. Well, we know why we were doing a Lady with a Fridge, because we wanted it to be made clear that it wasn't ever going to be a champion that was ever going to be made. Though I think it's probably ended up being closer to a champion that could be made than we should have made it. Never mind.
Then all the other stuff we did.
So let's pick up a few more things in terms of Lady in the Fridge. So we were gonna go with, I believe, sort of background wise. So she wasn't going to be Freljord. I can't even spell that. It's terrible.
this
It's
makes it look
Frel
nice.
and then yours.
Oh yeah, I think I tried to be too clever. Freljord. Oh my gosh. Is that right? Freljord.
I have no idea.
I don't know. It's all crazy. But yes, rather than having been Freljord, I know it is Freljord. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's with J.
But Piltover. That's right, wasn't it? So this is artificially generated cold. rather than
I think it was
supernatural.
Piltover or Zon, one of the two works.
Oh yes, yes. So it's artificial. I think the idea of it being artificial cold versus supernatural cold, it's like that. That actually works really well with what you were talking about before with the whole expelling heat and cold and stuff. That makes more sense, I think, when it's like this is a mechanical thing which has exhausts and things like that, rather than just being it's just cold, lol. Okay, so I think that's pretty good so far. Let's see what other stuff we've got. So I think, so we've got a Piltover or Zornite. Do either of you know the lore well enough to be able to say one way or the other if it should be Piltover or Zornite?
No.
Nope.
We really
I
need
look at the pretty ladies and that's it.
Yes, I think that's something we're missing, because we did discover that was one of the things we needed to have as part of our design team, for someone who actually knew about lore stuff. So Happy Light Sense was doing that in a period of seasons where actually sort of knowing the difference between X and Y, because my broad understanding, which is probably going to be wrong, in fact, no, I'm going to say up front it is wrong, but we can just use it as a working thing, is that the Piltovian is more like, it's kind of happy mad scientist, and as in like it's sort of like a World's Fair kind of theming.
Yeah, like 1950s Walt Disney World's Fair kind of stuff. I think it's built over.
Yeah, so it's all like the sort of the spin on it is that people live in this kind of engineering paradise.
The city of tomorrow, something along those lines.
Yes, exactly, that kind of stuff.
But also with mad people, because like Jinx, isn't she from Piltover?
Do you need to go? What's going on there?
My Siri, when I said city of tomorrow, my Siri thought I was talking to her, so apologies.
I think Jinx is. I feel like Jinx.
Or wasn't she Zon or something?
I think Jinx is Piltover, but
With like the dark side, right?
Yeah, but isn't that the thing where it's Zon and Piltover have this kind of relationship where sometimes, because it's two sides of the coin.
A little bit.
Yeah. Because I remember Urgot is Piltover, but in the cinematic, it's definitely Caitlyn and
Vi.
Urgot is Zom, but it's definitely Caitlyn and Vi fighting him. So it's like,
Yeah, like I heard like Vi and Jinx are sisters, right? But Jinx succumbed to the madness, and Vi kind of went to like Caitlyn's side, like to the good side, fighting the bad guys. And then there's Urgot, with the experiments, and there's Warwick too, I think.
Yeah.
Because he's like singed. And then there's like Heimerdinger, because like Heimerdinger and Jinx are like also best friends, and Ziggs is there.
Well, so if we narrow it back
Porky.
in on the champions specifically, I think so. You're right. They've tried to make it more complex than this, but I think the broad idea is World's Fair for Piltovian. For Zornite, it's mad scientists primarily, though. I think they specifically tried to expand out on that idea more with Echo.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't
like morally gray area all the time in that.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so a little bit more than that. Though they haven't really gone back to it. Maybe it's something that will be more of a thing. So I think, probably speaking, if we're going to make someone, what kind of direction do we want them? Because I think aesthetically speaking, if it's Piltover, it's steampunk.
Yeah.
If it's Zornite, it's dark
Batman.
steampunk. Yeah, so Batman, dark.
Batman. Yeah.
So, which of those are you guys feeling like? And obviously, this is Roger. This also goes into which one you feel best drawing as well.
I do think like I would love her to be, like a little bit like a mixture from the characters like Vi and Jinx, because like they're like work very close together because they're sisters, but like one is like on the good side, one's on the bad side. So I would like to like have like the sort of dynamic between like the Fridge and her. That the Fridge is like the utter madness, and like she's like still the mechanic. So and she's just
so
like
the Fridge is
kind of getting
Zornite, but
sucked
she's
into
Piltover?
it with the stuff through her veins, but like it's like a constant still like going against each other, but somehow they have to cooperate, because without her, the Fridge could break down and be a goner, and without him, like I don't know, with the freezing liquid in her veins would like eat her alive or something like that.
It could be something that, and this is going maybe a bit too dark, but it could be something where they have sort of a symbiotic relationship with each other, where it's indeed, okay, I'm the fridge, but I give you sustenance because you need a cooling liquid to survive or something.
Yeah.
And where she goes, okay, true, but you know, if I'm not there, if I die, you have no future life because you're a fridge, an immovable object.
Yeah.
Okay,
cool.
so Roger, it sounds like you were talking about the idea that she would be Piltovian, but the fridge itself will be Zornite.
Kinda, yeah. You know, as a mechanic, she has like jobs everywhere, stuff like that, and then one day, somehow, she met that piece of thing.
she was instructed to repair a fridge.
Yes.
In Piltover that was accidentally delivered to that home or something.
They got the wrong label on the.
Like, we didn't order this.
Okay, no, I think that makes sense. All right, so yes, we've got a Piltovian engineer who's strayed outside of the bounds of what you expect. So yeah, maybe they are changing each other.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the symbiotic relationship makes sense. Again, this is something biotic that I think we've all been sort of talking about at various times with this design. So I think it would make sense again to have that in mind while we were talking about what kind of kit they've got.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So we've got a pretty good idea of what it is. So I think probably the big thing, and to start with here, just so we've got some sort of direction as to what kinds of abilities to give them, is what kind of character does this seem like? Like, first of all, like, you know, what lane would they be initially designed for, without worrying too much about whether they could theoretically go to other lanes, but like, what would be their primary starting point?
I would say either like a very tanky support or a top laner.
Yeah, I would tend to agree as well. Either a very tanky support like Leona Braum or just
Yeah.
top laner.
Okay. So what about...
Although,
Or a mid laner that's super like easy to like get on all the other lanes, you know, and support them.
actually, and this is maybe a bit more going towards the bottom up, but so Riot has done a support that is also an assassin, Pike. They've done a support that is also a mid laner, Seraphine. They haven't done a support that's also a jungler because I think actually Ivern kind of fits that role a little bit. They have never done a support that is also top laner. I'm not counting Tahm Kench because that's cheating. So that might be something worth considering. Just putting it out there.
Okay, well, so I'll put these down as long as we can come up with a reason for them. So why does it make sense as a tanky support, these kind of ideas? Quick, you're eating Exodus and answer the question.
So the reason for that is I'm a top laner myself. What I never get filled. I never get filled in support, but there isn't really support for like a bruiser kind of champion. For like somebody who, for me, really likes bruisers. There isn't such a thing. You can go Leona and Braum, but it's not the same feel. Tom is something that resembles it closest, but it still feels a bit off. It feels that Tom is just overstated at the moment. And that's why he's being played top lane. So it would be cool if there is something out there where you say, look, hey, you know, you're filled support or you want to support, but this is a champion you can also play in solo lanes. So you might actually have the mechanics to play this champion. I think that's cool.
Okay, it sounds like you're getting kind of closer to a sort of clear explanation there. But like, so what would that entail them doing? Like, what's the difference between that being the case and that not being the case?
Okay, I think. What do you mean? What's the difference between that being the case and not?
So, like, what about them makes them a bruiser support rather than just a tank support? If you're saying that you want to see a bruiser support,
so bruiser is very difficult in melee range to fight with. So bruiser really wants to say, look, I'm next to you. If you're right next to me, you should probably not win this fight unless you're either another bruiser or something that can deal with bruisers. So it's something where she will have a lot of base stats, or something where she has this kit that works intuitively well, like something like I keep on going with the same champions, but for example, something like a Wukong, where you can just, good little melee trades and then do some funny business, or Darius, where you just walk close to me and you might die. And that is something that she can actually incorporate in a role where if she starts getting some gold, it's okay, she can start really look towards some of these scaling abilities where she goes, for example, let's say one of her abilities that does damage kills really well with AD or AP, and as a support, the utility is there, but as a solo laner, the damage is there as well.
Okay. So, I guess to go to a slightly wider view of what she's going to be doing. So, if we're thinking that she's kind of I guess, so we've got... I can't remember all of the different terminologies for different kinds. So we've got the sort of the engaging supports, and we've got the supports that mean that you can't really engage on their carry. So it sounds like you're more leaning towards the idea of a support who makes it hard for people to be near the carry.
Yeah, I think, because that's actually something that doesn't really exist that much in League. You have supports that are... Thresh is the one Thresh and maybe Tom is the one exception, and I'm a little bit on the fence about, because there isn't really support that is... My job is to... I am there to protect carries. Yeah, Braum, but Braum is actually more towards you have engage and you have utility, where Thresh is I can really protect somebody. Like as Thresh, I can flay them, I can put the box, I have the lantern, nice. I can hook them if they get too close, but that's not something that you can see that there is any other support. So if this champion will be, look, if you get too close, I might not be that good at engaging, but if you get too close to my carry, I will make life hell for you.
Okay, strong engage. So this might be a bit too specific at this point, but so something just to kind of to percolate for a while is the why of why is it like hard to stay near her? Is it because she's going to crap? Like if we want to make her like Braum, which again we need to be a little bit careful, we don't just make Braum with a different name.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially because she's effectively carrying a Braum shield already, which isn't ideal if we're trying to differentiate across character. But is the point of this that you will get CC'd? Will you take more damage, or is there some other negative thing that will happen?
I think you could have a combination of both. So something I, for example, have in mind right now is imagine somebody runs up to your carry, where you open the fridge or where you do a slowing field, and the closer you get to Cullen, working name in progress, TM, the closer you get to Cullen, the more slowed you get. Meaning if you're Cullen, you stick towards that champion you want to protect, it's really difficult to do anything because Cullen is there literally blocking the way. And you could also say, excuse me, like for example with the Sejuani, where it's if you get way too close for too long, you get frozen, and then you kind of get a sleepy trouble bubble effect where, the next hit you take will do a lot of extra damage.
Okay. So, it sounds like you're kind of thinking the area of kind of area control, or area denial.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright with exploring that as an angle. Like, it does mean I have to probably leave the fridge riding aside, but maybe we can find a way to jam that into the kit somewhere. Okay, so we've got quite a lot of stuff to work with here. So it's just... Oops, excuse me. I did not expect that to happen. Nope. Okay, apparently I'm not on the correct selection tool. There we go. Let's see if I can fix that. So let's quickly go over... I think we can probably take the inspirations off screen for the time being. So we're going to be doing a lot of bringing things off screen just to have room for everything else. So we've got someone who is currently a tanky support or top laner. So it sounds like if she was going to be, oh my gosh, I already love the witch hat that's coming together here.
Oh yeah, this is nice.
So we've got someone who's basically a rock. It's like in terms of like kind of functionally what they're doing, it's they're kind of planting themselves in an area and making it hard to go past them. So I guess I think it doesn't do us any favors to not just sort of acknowledge what's already in that kind of design space. So we've got Ornn is the one who's most kind of obviously in that same kind of thing. In terms of he is he has an area around him where he can control very heavily, with the pillar and charging into that pillar. If you come near him, he will be able to punish you for it.
Yeah. And it's also the I know I keep going back to this, but it's also with the guardian kind of character. I think if we make her that specific type of character, we would need to kind of limit healing. As in, healing is an issue in League, and it's you have these guardian characters but they're actually basically healers. So everybody that is protecting somebody is not really protecting them; it's just healing them up. While I kind of really want this character to be no. I really protect them, but health bar wise, that's their own issue. Like they need to make sure that their health stays up. That's not something I can really mess with. That's not something that's really in my area of control.
Okay, so I like the idea of trying to build in. Gosh darn it, of trying to build in sort of baseline assumptions here, which is that you don't cover every base. I think
that's why Thresh works so well, because Thresh is he's so balanced, because if you're AD carry, if you're a very good Thresh, you can do a lot. You can do a lot for your AD carry, for your marksman. But if you're a bad Thresh, well, your AD carry can kind of still do their own thing. But if you're a good Thresh and your AD carry is just at 10% HP, there's nothing you can do. They're just gonna die.
Okay, so... Are there any other champions that come to mind for you that sort of occupy a similar space? I mean, Braum is, I guess, would be another one.
Although Braum is also feels a little bit more as in, yes, he's very defensive. He's also like a guardian, but he's also very much an engage tool. As in, he's a counter engage tool. So his ultimate is great when they've engaged onto you. You just use the ultimate, which is something we can definitely look into. Where it's okay, you need to have something where it's difficult to engage onto Cullen intentionally. So that's intentionally built into your kit.
Okay, so I think again we can come back to like the inspiration and things because of time. Not wanting to go on forever, and we haven't even designed any abilities yet. We're already like 15 minutes in. So this is the consequence of us trying out these new ideas, as we've got a lot more to talk about. So let's start talking about some of the other things we can get in here, which is the unique inputs and outputs. So and it's one of the things where like I really hope I don't get this wrong. But the unique input being, what's unique about playing Cullen? Like, or what are we aiming for to be unique about playing her? Why would you choose her over, say Braum or similar? And also, on the other side of that, what is unique about playing against her that makes her more, not just like, oh, it's just Braum, but with X ability instead of this
and
other
female.
ability? Yes.
And female. Yeah, I mean the fridge is definitely on.
Yeah.
I would say the difference is that she is. I have an idea for her. I don't know if it's actually feasible. I would like something where it's okay. Cullen is don't mess with Cullen, as in that's why she can also be a solo laner. It's Braum is similar in a certain degree in the early game because his Q and his passive, but there needs to be something with Cullen where she goes, if you go into a long battle with Cullen, or if you go into like a bruiser battle with Cullen, you need to be very, very careful. If you're for example an AD carry that is standing right next to her and you don't really have any mobility, Cullen needs to mess you up. That
Okay,
is
so
kinda something that I think should be in there. Yeah.
So ramping threat over time.
Yeah, for example, that can actually be tying with the cold mechanic, where it's if you stay too close to her for a long time, you just it there's a cold mechanic in there.
I like that idea. Like, it's so we've got to, because we've kind of defined our terms a little bit more. This is also going to cause us more problems because it's then going to start contradicting each other as we try and come up with
Yeah,
ideas.
we're gonna have to cut stuff basically. Yeah.
So I love the idea of a ramping threat over time. It doesn't immediately scream to me counter engage, because if you can't, well, that in itself doesn't counter and engage, because if it takes time for you to sort of do your thing, then you're not stopping the engage from happening.
You could look at it differently. You could say, for example, if you go for a engage or a dive on somebody, and you mess it up a bit, but it's fine. But you still really haven't killed anybody, but you're already fighting for 10 seconds. Cullen needs, I think would be healthy for Cullen to be, oh wait, this engage is taking 15 seconds? Yeah, you're not winning.
Okay, actually, I actually really like that idea. So to say that she's not counter engage per se, but that she forces the other team to finish their business in a short amount of time or something. I think that's a cool idea, because I don't think I think
Either we get this show started now, or you just leave the lane, please.
Yeah. Either you come kill me now, or I'm winning.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a cool idea. I mean, we're probably going to be doing a little bit backwards and forwards of Trolls trying to justify these things. But okay, no, I think that's a cool idea. So let's I'll move this out of the... Oh gosh, darn it, I did it again. If you don't click a tool on this on Miro, it will default to move the entire screen around.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna have to, with the freezing waves and freezing minions thing from that Viking, I think we're gonna have to incorporate it in another champion, because it's so cool, but I don't know how we can get it into our kits.
I think it feels like a very top laner ability.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's a really cool ability, even if it was meant as a joke. It was still a very cool ability, which is...
It's something that has never been done. There's not really a champion that manipulates wave states.
Yeah, I think honestly, that would be a really good bottom-up, design to go for. Just be like, okay, we'll build a champion who doesn't necessarily, create minions or something, but uses the minions that's already there as a resource for their play style. Alright, let's move this stuff out of the way for now. So we've got a bit more room to work with. So I think we've got some good stuff to go. So we know that they're kind of a tanky champion. We know I love the idea of of her being a thing that builds around extended fights.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a really interesting concept, because that immediately kind of suggests, oh, she would do well with champions like Ezreal or something, who can kind of can stay in a fight without getting immediately blown up.
Yeah, exactly. So they can keep kiting, and if you have Cullen, it also means I'm not sure. This is way too much theory crafting, but it also means that some of these champions, where it's like a Vayne, for example, is a good idea. And for Vayne, the case is either we need to give her a lot of mobility, because Vayne needs to find a way to protect herself. And you can go, you know what, let's just run a Cullen comp, where it's a very immobile late game or very immobile carry, whatever that is, but you have Cullen protecting her.
Yeah. Like slow enough to enemy champions hit on Cullen, but tanky enough to have Vayne be comfortable with letting enemy champions hit on Cullen.
Yeah, because the thing that's why a lot of people hate Lulu Kog'Maw. It's a sort of similar dynamic, but Lulu also buffs the champion, where you can go, hey, Kog'Maw, here's a lot of attack speed, and here's a wild growth, and it's, yeah, okay, true, but that's maybe a bit too overboard, because you're also adjusting the amount of damage that a Kog'Maw can put out, which is not really what Cullen should do.
Okay, so yeah, so we've got that kind of unique input there, which, yeah, I mean, I guess sort of functioning, a lot of champions will just do more. I guess maybe the damaging supports would maybe fit broadly into this area of being, you know, like say a brand support. Like if you just let them get another rotation of spells off, then you could potentially be in real trouble.
Yeah.
But I think that's a cool idea, and I think it does work relatively well with the idea of having her kind of the sort of gathering frost or similar.
Okay. So, Kit. Let's go.
Yeah, let's make up some actual abilities then. All right, so we. Oh my gosh.
I think
so
we
sorry.
already went over a lot of them.
Yeah.
So
Eating minions, spitting out food.
eating minions, spitting out food, shining a light, cooling liquid, and what will you?
Yeah.
All right, well, yeah, let's. I guess without necessarily worrying about which ability they are, let's just hit a bunch of different potential abilities, just conceptually, with not necessarily worrying about what they specifically do. So we've got eat minions.
Yeah.
What else?
Eat, store food, or like store something.
Okay, yep, storing food. Yep.
Slowing. I mean, obviously.
Sure.
Maybe like a stun. Because of the, I think we call it light in the fridge or whatever.
Okay, and then we've got sort of ramping threat of some kind.
Threats, yeah.
So we don't know what that threat's going to be as of yet. I did think that there's enough room in the game for more than one champion to have brittle.
Yeah, brittle is actually a really good idea. Because it's currently only Ornn who has brittle, right?
Yes, as far as I can remember.
It's actually cool, yeah.
Yes, and I do apologise for us saying cool and things all the time. They're not all intended to be puns, but it's hard for them not
But
to
actually
be.
could be cool because one of the ways people why Ornn is good is like a real tread and lane is because his W. His W does a lot of percent damage. And that is actually something she might, with the brittle stuff, she might incorporate into her kit as well. Where it's, as you said, if it ramps over time, so if you're in too long, she can get a free brittle stack on you, and then if she procs it, you take a lot of base damage.
Okay. So this could be a stacking effect.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I immediately am thinking of stuff where you could have like a sort of like a brawn passive kind of effect that just has a lot more stages to it. Where you could build up an effect on someone that could go up to say 15 or something, just an arbitrarily large number where you choose to cash it in at any point, but the longer you wait, the bigger the effect is.
Okay.
I definitely think that could work as an idea. So okay, any other types of abilities that she could have? Oh, the riding the fridge. I still want to try.
The fridge.
I still want to find a way to fit that in, just because I think it would look fun.
Honestly, that might be a good passive.
She could just have
How?
Talia's passive.
Yeah, kind of like Talia's passive, but in the river. Only in the river.
Oh, that's a kind of fun idea.
Riding
Would
in
it
the
be
river.
possible that someone that she like when she goes through the river leaves like a little ice trail behind?
I was thinking the
or
same
just in
thing.
general, not just in
Yeah.
the river, but like in general, like it leaves like.
Yeah.
That's a cool idea, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So she is slow, but she speeds up her allies.
Yeah?
So it's so if you see Cullen, okay, that's really balanced because if you see Cullen rotating, Cullen is very slow, but as soon as Cullen rotates somewhere, and then the rest of the team goes, "Oh, wait a minute, she's in trouble," or "There's the fight," you just follow the ice, and your ally is there quicker.
Yes,
It's a
that's
cool
super
idea.
cool.
I try and reconcile that with the kind of character that she is, though. In terms of if she's not supposed to be engaging on people, the idea that she would be way out in front of the team seems
Or
like
could
that's.
that be like maybe an ability, not something that she like always has, but like an ability actually that when she like goes into a fight, like she engages something, she presses the ability, and she goes engage, and like people that are like still coming like behind her from like the other lane, you know, when they get on the trail, they like go faster. You know, like the cooling liquid like is like slippery, and so they slip around and go faster.
Honestly, as much as Feral Pony was not into the Slippy Slimy Ice World, I am always into Slippy Slimy Ice World.
Yeah, same. We're going to create a new effect.
We're creating the champion, so slippery ice it is.
a new crowd control effect. Slippery. This champion will stumble over itself.
That's cute.
I don't know if I'm being too kind of like too stick in the mud with the whole idea of like, because I really liked it. I think I was talking about it before, like with the idea that she could. So maybe the way we can sort of reconcile the fact that she's not supposed to be a primary engage or anything is to try and bring in the idea which we're talking about in the previous session, which was that she could maybe she moves slowly most of the time. But if she keeps continuing moving in a straight line,
give her a dash.
I mean, everyone loves dashes.
Oh no! Don't give her a dash, but make her do like she can draw a line. That can actually be one of her abilities. Like seriously. So she draws a line like you would do with a rumble R, like from here to here, bam, and she throws down an ice barrier, or not a barrier, but she throws down ice on the ground that speeds up.
Like an ice path.
Yeah, an ice path, exactly.
Okay, what would this be in service of? It would be something that she could use and
ice path in one straight line, meaning that you can only do it in a line, meaning that it's very telegraphed, extraordinarily telegraphed, so you shouldn't really be like, oh no, I got surprised, make the animation long or whatever, but it's definitely something where it's, if Cullen is fighting somebody and she puts it behind her, allies can get to her really quick.
Okay. Yeah, I think I do like that more because it's not a very good engage tool, because if you literally point out the vector you're coming in on the enemy team, they're just going to move aside.
Yeah, and it doesn't need to be the speed of a rumble elf per se. It can be a very slow moving ice path, but let's say for the length of its scream, it would take 5 seconds, which is the same amount of time you need to just click base and walk away. But if it's in the opposite direction, towards your allies, it's actually, okay, cool, you're minimizing the distance.
Yeah, I can dig that. I kind of like the idea of a deployable ice path. I think that's yeah, it's inherently kind of it sounds like it's useful but not super horribly broken, which is some of the stuff we come up with.
Yeah.
No, our stuff is fine.
Want to make that an E or something, or a W?
All right. Yeah. Let's start throwing out some stuff. So let's kind of summarize and try and make sure that we understand here. Like, so why does she apart from the fact that it's cool, why does she need an ice path? What function is it allowing her to fulfill on the team?
So the function allows her to fulfill on the team is it's an extra form of protection, sort of, because it's also a getaway, meaning that imagine you're Cullen and you're in lane with somebody, they engage onto you, as Cullen tell your AD carry, get out. She keeps the engaged busy, but at the same time she creates an escape route for you. She creates an escape route for your carry. The opposite is also true, where Cullen goes into somebody, for example, she rotates alongside with a jungler, she's in trouble, she can create a very slow moving ice path, but it will help shorten the distance to actually you need to be in help. And it kind of reiterates the idea where if you stick too long with Cullen, like to Cullen, it's a bad idea, because she will get help, just unavoidable. She will get help because she has these ice paths she can throw out.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I think I do like that idea that you've got an ability with two different kind of use cases for it. And yes, as well, by it being telegraphed, like very obviously telegraphed, that it sort of builds in the unique output part of it, which is the experience of playing against this champion. It kind of gives you something else to think about during a fight. That watching where that's being deployed is a meaningful part of like a team fight.
Is that glove supposed to be chainmail, by the way, Roger? It looks really
Huh?
cool. I thought the glove on her, is it her, hold on, left, yeah, her left side?
Yeah, like in the original design, you know, she had the one glove, and then she had like
Yeah.
the bandages below that. And for the Halloween skin, since she's like kind of like witchy, you know, I thought I'll give her some lace instead.
Oh, it's like sexy
Ooh.
witch time.
I mean, like not really like sexy, but you know, just like the
Fashionable.
the small feminine touch, you know, like to her usual like very buff, you know, just the same like with the off shoulder tops, you know, like having a
Yeah.
little witchy vibe in it.
All right, cool.
Yeah, shake what your mama gave you, Kennedy.
All right,
I'm
so
kidding.
Mama gave her a fridge.
Mama gave her a fridge. She damn hell is gonna shake it.
all right, yeah. So the finished story, at least as far as we get with the closest finished article, will be, of course, in the link down at the bottom as well.
Or
For-
join the Discord where you can also watch all of our fan art.
so much fan art, millions of tons of it.
Tons of it, totally not empty so far. But you know, just
Okay.
join the Discord.
So let's get back to abilities. So I do like the ice path. I think it's provides an interesting sort of play pattern where we've got a sort of control over a kind of an area, like you know, power in an area. Like once it, because that's things like she does become a lot worse when presumably the ice path has been used. I was assumed the ice path is going to be on a pretty long cooldown.
Well, yeah, it kind of depends because I was thinking, imagine this ice path. It's when you're creating it, its travel time is slower than the minimum movement speed. Meaning you can, if you see it coming, you know, right, I'm heading out.
Bye.
Bye. So it's once again, she's terrible at engaging, but it's very much so telegraphed that you know, I need to make sure I kill Colin within a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, other ability then?
All right, so we're gonna need. I don't know exactly where it needs to be. It could be on a passive. It could be on as part of another ability. We need the ramping ability.
Yeah.
So
Got just the spreadsheet for that on my own device.
oh
here.
gosh, so
Yeah.
are you able to knock together a very quick ice path? Like it could literally just be a blue path, honestly, and it would be
Yeah.
totally fine.
Which one is it? Is it the Q
It's the E.
or
The
it's
east.
the E?
So that's the
it's this
fourth one. Yes.
Okay. So ice path. Okay.
Maybe so. It's entirely up to you as to what approach to make of that. I could see it literally just being a path. It could be like a picture of Cullen like smacking the ground or something when the path coming out of her hands, or I don't know.
That's actually what you're drawing there is actually already pretty perfect.
Just give it like a little bit of
Yeah.
look, let's have it like, you know, the usual grass, like a little bit green, stuff like that, like pressure.
Okay,
Like-
so for the ramping
Oopsie.
ability.
So we've got literally the first thing I came up with, which was like a a Braum style ability where it has sort of our grand old history of making abilities which are way too complicated. Like you have like a filling in Braum passive kind of thing, just with more segments. Where do you stand on that? How do you feel about that as an idea?
Yeah. I like the brittle idea as well. So it's sort of something like a Braum, but there is a brittle in that process somewhere.
Okay, yeah,
If
I
she
think
if she
Bristol could
procs
definitely be
it-
part of it.
Yeah, so if she procs it, it definitely does a lot of damage, but she will need to do like Orange, she needs to do the auto attack. Because I imagine if they come up with further brittle, it would follow the same trend, right? Where when somebody is brittle, you need to proc it with an auto attack. Yeah, you need to doink smash it somehow. 'Cause it's
Okay.
the definition of being brittle.
Well, I kind of like, so I kind of like the idea of Let's see. So with Braum, let's think a bit about the gameplay pattern here. So if Cullen is not terrifically mobile, we've got the whole thing of how is this like if we've got a stacking effect, how is it initially put onto somebody, and how is it sort of cashed in? Like, is it something that she activates her ability to do, or does she need to hit them, or does somebody need to hit them?
We can.
I love that ability icon, by the way. That's great.
Well, I think that's a really cool ability icon. Yeah. It could be along the lines where it's okay. As soon as she starts fighting, you start fighting with Cullen, or she starts fighting with you. Something starts ramping up, and at a certain point, you'll have a brittle. Literally like with Orn W. So, okay, let me think. Here's the fridge. She can be. It could be something where she literally opens up the fridge and it kind of stacks up. So it's like a damage over time tick. You're a little bit slow, it's not all that much, but the brittle effect is coming, and you know the brittle effect is coming.
Well, let's have a quick check-in and remind ourselves, because I know I certainly can't quite remember offhand what... I'm trying to find the Orn's stuff on the wiki, but it's sending me to the background rather than to his actual abilities, which is very annoying. So the brittle, if I remember correctly, it makes further crowd control more effective.
And it also does, I think it does percent, in Orn's case, which is the only brittle, I'm just gonna look it up because I know his W does percent damage when you proc it. Because, so when he breathes the fire, you have magic damage that is equal to percent damage, and then you become brittle, and when you proc the brittle, you, I think, double that damage, but I'm not sure.
Okay, no, so that's specific to that ability. So the brittle effect itself is to reduce your tenacity.
Yeah.
So it just means that you're going to get stunned for longer or whatever, or slowed for longer and similar. Which I think is fine. Like,
yeah.
I feel like if we make it so that her abilities, like, are... like, that she doesn't have full kit synergy with herself. Like, in terms of if she had the ability to make stuff brittle. Like, so for example, with Ornn, I know his stuff is mostly... You've got knock-ups there, primarily. Rather than, like, you know, he doesn't, like, have, like, a Tarek stun or something that's going to benefit directly off of people being brittle. I'm gonna look really silly if I'm wrong about that.
Let's say she also needs... I think what we should do is leave the ramping ability a little bit in a Schrodinger state and give her a... So Ornn, when you're brittle, so Ornn smashes into you, right? With his E, he knocks you up. So I think we should give her sort of a smashing-like ability. It can literally be she smashes the fridge on the ground. Jesus.
I mean, if we're going down the area control thing,
yeah,
it could be an ability where she literally just tips the fridge over.
Yeah.
Where she locks herself in place and then kind of has a kind of, you know, a telegraphed thing of it going like dunk.
Yeah, she usually goes. She can put it down and kick it or whatever, or just, you know, it ties into it. The fridge is falling on people actually.
Yeah.
She pushes it and it falls, kind of like a Scion Q. If you're stuck in, or if you're under the fridge, if you're stuck in there, you take. Obviously, you're stunned, but you also take a lot of damage, and it procs a brittle effect. Kick the fridge.
Okay.
Oh, I like the pumpkin button.
It's a belt. It's a belt buckle.
Oh, the pumpkin belt buckle. Yeah.
It's cute.
Okay. Similar to Scion decimating smash. That it's self stuns. I mean, yeah. So far we've got a lot on the area control kind of stuff, which I think is fine. Also, I can't spell decimating.
So,
apparently.
are we on the queue?
Yes. So,
yeah.
Okay.
I hope that you've practiced your fridge drawing between this last session and this one, because we need to have a demonstration of a fridge falling on someone or being kicked over or something of that ilk.
Yeah, like almost an emoticon where it's somebody kicking a fridge or something and it falls over.
Okay.
Not putting too much pressure onto you there.
It's
you know?
okay.
Okay.
Can I just make yeet the fridge?
Yeet the fridge.
Oopsie.
It could be a throne thing. There's nothing which means that she has to necessarily have it be directly next to her, but she could yeet it.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of having a sort of effectively, if she's just effectively throwing a boulder.
Yeah, she's throwing a boulder, but it's the fridge.
Okay,
Yeah.
wait. So we have the hands a little bit.
It can be a flying fridge as well. It kind of.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to do like something perspective.
Oh yeah, I like
super-
the hands. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it needs to be accurate hands.
You know, like the little bit comic style, like the big splash, and then
Mm-hmm.
and then the fridge just like.
That is actually perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into it. I'm into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
All right, there we go. Yeet the fridge.
Yeet the fridge.
Oh yeah, actually, I kind of like the idea of
I make it a little bit comic with the eyes of the fridge.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna, Alexis, I'm gonna hope that you'll keep me honest here in terms of trying to explain why, rather than just kind of like because. But I was thinking about the idea that maybe it could be a charging ability that she can rapidly deploy it at short range because the distance it can travel increases with how long she charges it. Like it's never long, but it goes from basically being like melee range to being like sort of like a champion's distance or something.
Kind of like a like what Pantheon does, that kind of mechanic with his Q?
Yes, yeah.
A little bit, yeah. Okay.
So you've got some sort of tactical options there. That it makes it worse for you to go after her in short range because she can just drop a fridge directly onto you.
Yeah. And I imagine when she's charging, she also is self-slowing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of okay.
Self stuns or slows, like,
Yeah.
but increasing cast range. So that in itself, I guess. I think probably it needs to increase the cast range and stun duration.
Yeah. Because if you hit somebody from really far with a fridge, I think you deserve a couple of stuns extra.
Speaking as fridge hurling experts.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't want to brag, but my dad was a champion fridge hurler 25.
I love that icon already. That is so good. We're gonna end up with
Yeah.
such an incredible infographic after this.
I'm just putting it out here, just like sodas, like please hire me. I make cute little icons.
Yeah, I like the idea of increasing stun duration because it feels if she's gonna hit you with the stun at close range, like it shouldn't be like a petrifying gaze kind of situation where you just die if you happen to walk past the bush that's got her in it. But like you've got some mechanical incentive for doing it while the range is still short enough that it's not like she's be like, also I'm a Malphite.
Yeah. Okay, so with the ramping ability, that's something we need to do. This can be the cooling liquid stuff.
Oh yeah, okay. I like. Also, rather than so in respect to our sensei, that's right. He's become our sensei now, Feral Pony. Why not to do a reverse rumble that instead of heating up over time, having a heat system, she's got a cooling system.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's not exactly terrifically original, but it's.
As much as I respect everybody at Riot, Viego is not an original champion either because you steal other people's kits. So,
I suppose that's true.
Wait.
All right, let's.
The fridge.
Wait. I gotta make it really pretty.
Okay. I will give these abilities terrible names unless somebody stops me.
Sure.
So,
Cooling spill. No.
So Coolant Spell would be a good ability name. It doesn't really reflect
Yeah.
what we've got here. So that's
There, yeet the fridge.
all right.
I love my icon. It's so cute.
I like the icon so much. It's so well done.
It's very extra credits. Also, I love the writing underneath it. That is incredible. I would have that on my
cursive,
fridge.
yeah. That's very cursive, yeah.
Live, laugh, throw fridges at people.
Live, love, yeet.
Okay, Roger, at some point I will ask you to when I want to surprise my girlfriend, I have terrible handwriting. I will ask you to handwrite a letter because that is actually
Oh, God.
nice calligraphy.
Should I bring out my feather?
Yes,
Oh.
yes.
Wait, do I have it somewhere?
All
If
right.
you want to hear more about Zav's love life, please join the Discord of Champion Forge. Thank you very much.
Oh no. Where's the leave option? All right. So until we've got a better name, and I'm pretty sure any name would be a better name, we're gonna have Chill Out as the W.
Yeah.
So we still need to figure out so what logically makes sense here for what starts the ramping effect and what ends it, and trying to figure out reasons why for
I
each
think
ones.
opening up the fridge is the most, in front of her noses, where it's, she opens up the fridge or whatever, and it becomes cold.
Okay, so would that be?
Please, it doesn't have to be that. It can be anything else as well. But that's the one that's really it's out there. It's the easy way of doing it, and it's not particularly a bad way of doing it either.
Well, I was thinking that you could have a displace. There aren't many champions who have displacement abilities. Maybe it's hard to
No.
program.
Okay, so you have Trundle.
Yes.
Sort of. Ornn, obviously.
Obviously.
Obviously. Every grab is sort of a displacement ability.
So, from what you were saying, the kind of thing that occurs to me straight away would be something like, she opens the fridge, it spews out a cold, a little cold cloud, and then anybody goes in there starts having this stacking effect, or starts generating this stacking effect.
Yeah.
But that just seems okay, but at the moment we've got a champion that's very, very heavily based around disengage, really. This is pretty similar to Braum.
Yeah. What if there's something where it's within the... Actually, this can be cool. What if she lowers... So what we have right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, Pete. So she opens the fridge, cold or whatever comes out. So it's a zone of cold. Within that zone, if you stay in too long, you get a brittle. It's a brittle stack. But it also lowers attack speed. Because so if you're staying that cold for too long, it's kind of like with Nessus, where you have the slow, but you also lower attack speed at the same time. I don't know if it's a good idea or not. Might be a little bit too out there. Maybe we should give her some damage as well.
Well, I'm trying to think about how this sort of play pattern will work here. Because, in an average, so if we seem that at the moment we've got a champion who does feel very, very similar playstyle to Braum, where if you get up on her carry, she will just she will
Stun
give
you,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, she will just provide a ton of crowd control right into your face. And my concern here is how can we make that's kind of fine in and of itself, but it's a very, very straightforward champion idea of just be you get near me, I barf out all of my abilities, and then you can't do anything because you're CC'd to death.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
Want to give her a double up on an ability then, where it feels. I think that's something Feral Pony said as well, where sometimes it feels like a particular champion is a little bit too empty in their kit, or there's something missing. You just do a double up on a certain ability. I don't know if that's something you feel comfortable with, because
What do you mean, just adding another effect or something?
Yeah, for example, where a W can also be a passive effect, or like has a passive effect, for example, where it's every third basic attack slows, or that's extra utility, or every third basic attack does percent damage, or every whatever, or
Well, I'll tell you what, let's just go with your idea for the W. So, so opens fridge, and cloud of cold emerges.
Yeah.
So if we start talking about how we cash in these things, so if we've got a cloud of cold in terms of user expectations, there you would expect to be slowed movement speed wise.
Yeah.
But maybe that's what's going to differentiate this effect from something like a Freljordian thing, is that maybe the effect is less. Yeah, is less immediately noticeable, but it grows over time.
Okay, so if it grows over time, what if it's the cold escapes, and it's also the cooling liquid in it, sort of, or whatever, you know, if you want. That's the lore behind it, but it's also a poison over time effect. I know it's a lot in one ability, but it is basically you do not want to fight in her cloud. Because,
well, I mean, that's kind of what we've got already. If she's going to have a cash-in effect on someone who sticks around.
Yeah, that's true.
That's kind of functionally doing the same thing. In that, the weird thing about this is, I don't know if it's because we've just talked to the Rumble designer, but we've basically just made Rumble cross a brawl because.
Yeah, kind of.
Because this W would realistically work like Rumble's Flame Spitter, in that it just shoots out in a direction.
I mean, it is immobile. Like Rumble is mobile with the Flame Spitter, and it also attaches the Riddle effect. While Rumble doesn't really have hard CC, so I'd say yes on paper it looks the same, but I think it would play out differently. But yeah, I really get what you're saying, Pete. It does feel a little bit like Rumble Q sometimes.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have just made Cold Rumble, but it's fine. I mean, if people are gonna get mad about sonary work, then at least they can be like, gosh, these designers are really not digging too deep in the well to steal ideas. They're just going off of one well.
They should join the Discord and then help us make it better.
Yeah, flame us. Yeah. That at least means you care.
If you don't like what we're doing, say it to our faces.
Say it to our faces.
Let's try.
Discord, just on the Discord. Discord. Yeah, exactly.
Alright, so if we've got a Rumble Flame Spitter, so are you thinking that she should be also immobile while casting the Chill Out as well?
No, not really. I think the Chill Out should be immobile. Like this is the area of denial should be immobile.
Oh, okay. So she's kind of like sort of effectively, excuse the term, farts out an area of ice.
Effectively, she farts out a cloud of cold.
Oh, okay, so it's not like a Rumble Flame, so it doesn't move around.
Yeah.
Creates cloud of cold. Okay. Yeah, this is. I don't know. I think it's because we're in such a new area with all this stuff that I'm sort of doubting myself a lot more than I would have done previously, where it's like, are these abilities just sort of doing the same thing as each other?
I don't think because I know it looks that way, but if you really go over them, they don't do the same thing, because the Yeet, the Fridge, the Q is sort of a Scion throwable, but it's not really in the same sense because it's okay, but it's really telegraphed. W is actually something that doesn't really exist in League, maybe an Ivia ult, but it's not the same because it also makes the brittle. And the Ice Path is definitely something that is not in League. Like, it just is not there.
Yes, it feels. The reason I particularly like the Ice Path is it feels like something that's in a different game. And I'm certain it is in a different game, but it just hasn't been used so far. So I'm good with that.
Yeah. I think the one thing that is similar to it is potentially mean little Yordle on his dinosaur. Come on, what's the name? Kled, yeah, it's Kled ult.
Yes.
But it's not the same as the Klelar. It really functions differently.
So we'll tell you what. So if we've got if we say that the Cloud of Cold has a stacking bristle effect.
Yeah.
This doesn't. I think. So this is a little bit different than where we originally started, but maybe we can bring this back in the passive. That of it being, I guess, if you're fighting in a choke point, the chill out effect is more relevant. Like, because if it's a non-moving ability and everything, that she's got a very distinct kind of, I have to fight in a confined area, like around an objective and things, otherwise I don't really do anything. Maybe I just have the small idea that this is not maybe the best idea in the world, but maybe the fridge door opens, has a small knockback.
Oh yeah.
So that it kind of pushes them back immediately. Maybe that could be like a counterplay thing, that if someone's right up on you, you knock them back with the door opening, which means that they have a little bit more of a choice as to whether or not they want to go into the frost cloud as well, rather than you just deploying it directly on their face.
Yeah, and it can also be something that there is a movement, like an animation with the W. For example, there is an animation with the W, meaning that if you cancel the animation by doing crowd control or whatever, that ability goes on a cooldown.
Okay, so it's like a small channel.
Yeah, there's a small channel in there. Let's say not long, but a very small channel, where it's so if you're right on top of her already and you're able to cancel out the W, that's really powerful. That's really, really powerful.
Okay.
I think now we need a passive and an ultimate.
Yeah. Okay, well, maybe we can build up the stacking stuff in here a little bit.
Yeah. Before we go on, Roger, we need you to okay, so we have two options here. We have the fun option or the not so fun option.
I'm a fan of fun.
Okay, so the not so fun option is it's Colin opening a fridge. That's the not so fun option. The fun option is a fridge farting out a cloud of icy smoke.
Oh, right, yes. We need the chill out W.
The chill out W.
No, I know how to draw it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, is it the W?
The W,
Chill
yes.
out?
So in
Okay.
between Q and E.
Okay. So what we're gonna do again? We're gonna go with a basic color. Which one is it? It's this one's. Oh no, wait. Oh, we
So-
do it like that.
This is a little self-serving, but for the longest time I've had the idea that press the attack should be a support mastery, because it target marks and means that people do more damage to a given target.
Oh, yeah.
So if we wanted to force the issue here, we could just basically give her press the attack as a passive, which is that every time she hits someone, it increases damage dealt by other people to that target. So that
I kind of like it, yeah.
So if you try and get past her, she'll just keep hitting you, and then the person that you're chasing will then be able to keep kiting you and kill you.
And if we were serious about potentially even making her into a solo laner, I don't know if we're still committed on that, but it's also where, how long do you want to fight, Colin? Because if that passive starts ranking up, and at a certain point there's anybody else in there, that's dangerous. That's really dangerous. Yeah.
So, I mean, the most straightforward thing we do here is literally just give her press the attack as a passive. Like, we could dress it up in some other way, but that's ultimately what the point of it is.
Yeah.
Is that if you stay in the fight with her, like, maybe it's just got more stacks than press the attack does to differentiate it a little bit. And if it works for her as well, then I suppose that's probably okay if it works for her, because she presumably isn't building damage anyway, so it's not that it doesn't really matter if it works for her. So yeah,
we can call it like cold transfer or something, if you want to name
Sure.
it, because you punch, because she has, it actually works well into what Roger is drawing, because you punch somebody with really, really cold hands. You're transferring like cold or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so sorry, damage amp is what's the right term for a debuff? So it's a debuff causing target. I'm just trying to make this clearer but more wordy to take more damage.
With 6 stages, Jesus.
Yeah, well, that's so that would be the idea with it. Would be that you'd only get full value out of her if you were actively like trying to staying on one person specifically.
Yeah.
So we're talking very anti-assassin here, I suppose, to an extent, or anti-diving champion, I suppose. Maybe if the assassin would be too quick.
Want to double up where it's or also want to give her like a hail of blades in that same passive where it's if she hasn't been in combat for let's say 20 seconds, her next 3 auto attacks get like a Silas or whatever, they get like a lot of extra attack speed.
Okay.
So if she's standing still doing nothing and then you for like 20 seconds 30 seconds then you jump onto her, remember that those first 3 auto attacks will come quick.
I like that. I actually quite like that idea a lot. Because that again, it gives you windows of strength and windows of weakness there.
Yeah.
And also you get
this right.
Hold up.
Oh, it looks like an empty room right now.
You know, it's like it's the fridge, and like when the door knocks open.
I think the fridge needs to be more in frame because it's not clear that it's a fridge right now.
Okay.
Without being able to see the
I think
outline.
if you draw 1 or 2 shelves, I think it's very clear that it's a fridge.
Okay.
Oh no! Draw some bottles in the door.
Bubbles?
Rubber?
Bottles.
Huh?
Bottles.
Oh, you mean it's like
bottles!
Bottles.
Bottles.
Draw some bottles in there.
Whoa.
Bottles in there, my love.
Yes. What's the name of the ability? My mind is drawing a blank. The attack 3 times quickly. Halo Blaze.
Yeah, Halo Blades. Like Halo Blades effect on medium cooldown.
Yes. That is one of the things I've definitely learned from seeing other people's stuff. Is never try not to be specific with anything because that's when people start focusing on the specific numbers where it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, where it's not really important because this is disclaimer. This won't be made into a Riot champion.
Yeah,
In case no one noticed so far.
Yeah, I like the press the attack combined with the Hail Blaze. I think that's actually a really cool idea because it sort of focuses down her on being that she can deal very well with one person coming after the carry, but if it's multiple people coming from multiple angles, particularly, that it just sort of overwhelms her ability to cope with it, and that's
fine.
And
it's also the and with the Q, I actually really like the Q because what you can do is I'm thinking of a very obvious counterplay to her is, well, Cullen is difficult, but what if you just ignore Cullen? What if you just say, okay, you know what, let somebody deal with Cullen, and then the actual assassin goes after her, goes after the carry, and then you still have the Yeet the Fridge, where she can, from a long range, still throw that stun onto the person that is going after the carry. If she misses it, well, then, you know, she did her job. But if she doesn't, that means she still did her job, even though the other guys tried to go for something obvious. It's like in the pre-show, before the show, where I said, if you do 2 things wrong and somebody does something right, you should get punished for it.
Yeah. Oh, I like that idea. I think that's an interesting play pattern where I like having so you've got some way of dealing with the most immediate counterplay of just being engaged by somebody else, even if it's very temporary fashion.
Yeah.
What do you think of this?
Oh yeah, that's immediately a lot clearer.
Yeah, that's clear. Yeah.
I think it feels like there's room for maybe a figure or something on the right hand side being frozen.
or like a frozen dandelion or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
No little frozen minion.
Yes. We just take the minion from the previous page, shrink it down and call it a day.
Yeah.
Shrink it down so it's not obvious that it's the previous frozen minion.
No, I don't know. The thing is, like, at that kind of scale, I'd imagine it might be a little hard to read the minion at that size.
Yeah, but for now, you know, like...
My own animations, we can make it 30% bigger. Sorry, Farrell. Really sorry. It's a joke. I really, really appreciate that you came on. Seriously, it was really cool to listen to you. but I had to make that joke. Oh
my gosh. All right. So.
And I wonder why I'm not hired more.
Oh my gosh. All right. So now we come to the ultimate. So I think we've got some cool ideas so far. Is anything occurring to you in terms of ultimate-wise? I mean, this could be the place where, if we want to just be like, this is also Tam Kench, we could have the fridge eat someone as an ultimate. Though that's extremely close to just being...
Yeah, that is... This is a place where you can get like the heat stuff involved, where you say this is where she releases heat or whatever. But it can also be here where she does the cooling liquid, where she sprays something onto somebody, or where she draws in that's Nunu, but she draws in a lot of cold, and then she releases at a certain point.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you an idea which I don't think is good, just to get it out of my head, which is that I had the concept of her like pointing her fridge in a certain direction and have it sort of sucking like a tornado, like sort of dragging people backwards. That doesn't make any sense for a fridge at all, but that was what was in my head. I guess that sort of fits with the eating stuff idea.
One question.
Yeah.
Sorry. The passive is Colin throwing ice blades. Or I just read it has hail of blades on a medium cooldown, and I thought of like she's like.
No, but you just gave me a cool idea for the ultimate. But yeah, okay. So I think for what it could be a cool icon for the passive is her hands.
Mm-hmm.
Like her hands, or like she makes fists and they're cold or whatever, and you can see that they're cold or something. Or
so just like her frozen fist, just like emitting like all the coldness. Okay.
Yeah, I think that I don't know if you're.
That's fine.
You have another idea, Pete. But...
I think maybe it might be worth having like another figure in that thing because of the whole cold transfer. I think maybe her fist and then somebody's shoulder turning blue.
Oh
yeah.
Let's just bring in another minion.
Yep, she just hates minions.
Poor minions.
But hail of
okay,
blades.
so yeah.
So a hail of blades. What if she just throws out ice or something, or the fridge throws out ice or something along those lines?
Oh, ice! I thought you were saying eyes.
No, ice. Ice. I
was like, oh gosh, it's very Halloween-y.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. It's an idea.
So what would it would just be so let's just sort of recap the stuff we've got so far. So we've got if you stand near her, she will cause you to take more damage, and the longer you do that, more damage. So she will drop a fridge on you for either a short or longer stun. She will make it basically so it's like you're getting punished a lot for sort of chasing her, and all the person that she's doing it. And
if you can't kill her, you get punished a lot for chasing her. Yeah.
Okay, so it's because I want to make sure we don't end up with just a ability that's just another one of her basic abilities, but better.
Yeah.
Which is very, very easy to end up with. Okay, so what were you thinking with the hail of ice?
So it doesn't really feel like her, but it could be a place where she dishes out all the ice cubes or whatever, or she expels a load of ice from the fridge, and that's something that really does a lot of damage. Sort of like maybe similar to an MF ult, where it's like, oh, a lot of ice is coming out, and do you need to be slowed? Question mark.
So. So that's kind of like a super chill out then.
Yeah.
It's difficult because this is one of the things where I really wish that, hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to Feral Pony and try designing a kit, because these are the kind of things where we come across them. It's like, it's very hard to know what sort of thing we should be trying to go for here. Like, should we be doing something that just makes the rest, that complements the rest of her kit by letting her do it more? Like, should it be clever and try and enhance her abilities or interact with her abilities in some way?
It can be there's also another path we could go with the ultimate, right? It's she just throws down the fridge and she becomes this okay, seriously, she puts down the fridge, and for the next 10 seconds or something, her auto, she really does a lot of damage. As in, if you auto, her auto attacks do a lot of damage or something. Or it's where she goes, I abandon the fridge, I abandon the utility for a set amount of damage that I can dish out. That is an option. I'm not saying it's something we should do, but it also brings back the idea where it's okay, she can't be a solo laner because of this.
So when we're talking about this, the first thing that kind of was sticking in my mind was also I love the icon.
Yeah, the icon is amazing.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I thought Lysandra. Lysandra immediately comes to mind when we're talking about, like, if we did go for the locking people inside fridges or whatever idea, that you could easily just have her effectively have Lysandra's ultimate as her ultimate, but like in some way modified. I had it more in mind of maybe, like, I do like the idea of her dropping the fridge, because that's kind of interesting. Maybe this, I'm definitely not attached to this idea in any way, but maybe she deploys the fridge and it sort of functionally works like a Lysandra ultimate, that it sort of generates a cold field around it.
Yeah.
And then explodes or something?
Oh, she turns it into sort of a bomb.
Yeah, that she sets it to overload or something. And that she has another effect to her, like she kind of goes into a Singe style super mode herself, or just a different kind of mode.
Yeah.
While she leaves this behind, so she kind of gives up her ability to, like, I don't know, use her Q and W, let's say.
Yeah, because you can make it even so. If I'm just thinking from an animation perspective, okay? I think dropping the entire fridge, then you run into the problem. Okay, when does she pick it up? If she yeets the fridge, it's kind of weird because she already dropped it. So purely from an aesthetic, I would say she drops a sort of unstable ice cube that will explode or something along those. But I really like the idea where she drops something that is basically rigged to explode and do a lot of damage, I imagine, then, or...
Yeah, I mean, the most straightforward thing would just be like an AoE explosion, but it's also crowd controls people a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think, like, it hasn't really been the case previously. Like, I mean, Pantheon throws his spear constantly, and it doesn't matter that he doesn't actually go and get it back. Though Olaf does get his axe back, so I don't know. But he still has his axe while he's getting his axe back, which is, like...
Yeah, true. Ooh. What if you make this a frequent ultimate?
Okay.
Okay, hear me out. And she drops, because it's very... So, sticking with the team, it's difficult to fight her for a long time. She drops it. She drops a frozen minion, a frozen ice cube, a frozen whatever. It's not a really long cooldown she has, but it will explode. She drops something, it explodes, it's basically a bomb, it does a lot of damage. It's very, very clear, but she also has a lot of them. So, okay.
So, like, she can deploy Lysandra passes.
Yeah, kind of. She can deploy with Summer Pass. It's actually a good idea. Yeah. And it's not on a long cooldown, but it's also really easy to dodge. But at the same time, if you want to fight Cullen, you'll have to deal with those with those Lysandra passes that will eventually stack up, or that eventually will do a lot of damage.
I quite like the idea of it being a small ammo system.
Yeah.
Okay, so ammo system of, let's go with frozen food.
Yeah, sure. Then we literally come full circle.
Lysandra, I can't remember what they're called, Revenants? Something like that?
Yeah, it's not effigies, that's fiddlesticks. I'm gonna click. LoL wiki. By the way, the LoL wiki is super in depth, like seriously. And people will go, yeah, obviously. No. It's if you really look into like the advanced tab, it's insane. LoL wiki, Lysandra.
Oh, let's see. Thrall is called.
Troll, yeah.
It doesn't really come up a huge amount because it just doesn't get played that much recently. But okay. So I guess the challenge which I throw out here, which is what I'm hoping to try and do more in this series, is why? Like, as much as it's a cool idea, and this is kind of where we would leave it in the previous series, is why why does she need to have deployable Lysandra thralls? Like,
I would say once again it's a form of protection and zone denial, but it's also the satchel charge from Ziggs, for example, it's a satchel charge that you can't detonate on yourself, or maybe we haven't worked out if you can or can't detonate it yourself, but it's basically it's a threat out there, and you do not want to fight her for too long, because if she starts dropping multiple ones of these, that's a lot of damage stacking up.
so maybe if we had the ammo system playing into that, that maybe she gets another stack. Like, maybe if the effect is relatively minor, it builds up over time, that maybe she can generate more ammo for herself by applying cold transfers to people.
Yeah, I had the same idea, where it's every cold transfer she applies, she gets another ammo for. So she has like Corky rockets. They are replenishing on their own slowly. But with the cold transfer, the more cold transfer she does, the more ammo she's being fed. I like that idea, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of neat. Like, yeah, so maybe the effect is pretty minor, but it's enough to kind of like buy you, like, maybe it's like a half second slow or something, where she could potentially throw out a lot of them, but once she's used up all three, you know that she's going to be quite a lot weaker.
Yeah.
Unless she can get herself into the middle of the fight and not die. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Like, yeah, I don't think we're ever going to end up with in a situation here where we end up with like, this is the most perfect thing ever. But
no. Okay.
We can try.
We can try. What do we want to call the alt?
I've just called it frozen treats. So
Frozen treats.
Doesn't really work.
Frosticles. No. She throws down a frosticle. Frozen treats is fine, yeah. The lore behind it is she makes the best ice cream in the universe, and you're unable to resist it. You're like, ooh, this is cool, and then you eat so much you get a brain freeze.
It works. It does work. Though, we didn't use brain freeze anywhere in here. It's a bit of a crime. The ice cream, right? It's certainly right now, at least. I don't know what it was historically, but ice cream right now is a very chemical process. Like, it's it's in ice cream trucks primarily, which is it's very artificial, which I think does work quite well with the idea that she's not supernaturally, or she's not, like, primarily at least supernaturally cold. It's a supernatural-esque effect, but it's intentionally supposed to be based in the real world.
Yeah.
But yeah, we also don't need to specify how much faster she gets by doing cold transfer, because again, that's a balance thing, not a concept thing.
We're not really interested in,
yeah. I think so what we'll look to do with this is we'll do a write-up where we'll kind of go into a little bit more detail as to the whys on each of these things. Because I always find that there's not a lot to get out of. If you have to come up with your own whys for why the abilities are being done a certain way, then it feels like a bit of a waste. Alright, we're coming on 2 hours long, jeez.
I think we're also sort of done.
Yeah.
No, the hat is not done.
The hat is...
And I haven't drawn the old ability.
The alt can be literally a popsicle. That's fine.
Wait, but a popsicle with a explosive, like a cord to it.
Yeah, sure. A stick of dynamite.
What about a person screaming with a popsicle sticking out of their chest?
Oh my god.
Oh, sure. I mean, I'm not drawing it. Sure.
I don't know.
Wait.
All right. So while that's getting finished up by Roger, let's think of some final lines which we can use to. Actually, no. We've kind of got that already. So let's get rid of this right now. And so we've got the cold never bothered me anyway.
Obviously.
Yep.
Obviously.
Can we get an interaction between her and the fridge, just so I can make you guys record it together?
I think it's something where she I mean, there has to be a pun with the light on, right? Where she goes, looks into where she asks the fridge, Does the light stay on and like close the door? And the fridge goes, I'll never tell her, something like that.
Like the fridge wants to eat her constantly. She's like, "Do the lights always like turn out when you when I close the door?" And he's like, "Why don't you come find out?"
Yeah, well,
It's just like,
I love it. I liked the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that as an interaction. I love that's such a good idea, Roger Rogers. That the fridge is always trying to kill her. So it's like it's a sort of weird symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, actually, this it needs to be something. She is trying to the fridge is trying to kill her, but because it's just a fridge that can, it's a sentient fridge, obviously, but it's still a fridge that can't really do anything. So it just it's constantly trying to persuade her and desperate attempts, like lock yourself in me, right? Yeah, sure, whatever. Okay.
So now the popsicle.
The popsicle.
Do we make it red? Yeah, we make it red.
Maybe something with leftovers in there. I don't know. Like, there's a joke in there somewhere.
Like, yeah, like, hey, I still got this steak from last week in here. Can you get it out?
Yeah.
Oh no! Like, do I have something stuck between my teeth? Like, do I still have something something left over, like down in me? And she's like, wait, let me check. And then he like wants to like clap her like close, and he's like, ha, gotcha. She's like, no.
Okay. You still have some leftovers at the back.
Or like he's like, I'm not feeling so good. Maybe like it's.
Can you scratch my back
It's the honey fruit from last week. It's making me feel nauseous.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay, that's honestly that's enough.
That's enough, yeah.
Yes, great. Mm-hmm.
I'm just watching you draw this man that is.
I just find it funny because like always when I just go down to draw, like my face just like disappears from screen, and everyone's just like, "What is she doing?" It's like,
It's really
It's the same
really
thing as if you're casting a mobile game where you're like,
Oh yeah.
yep, looking down at. All right. So, oh my gosh, that is such a good. I'm looking forward to once the stick gets added. That is just gonna be perfect. I love the
That's
idea that it's stabbing
amazing.
someone with ice cream.
With like a gigantic popsicle.
Oh my gosh, it's brilliant. All right. Once that's done, we'll get a good view of all of the art involved, and then we'll do the voice lines, and then we'll be out of here. So from next week onwards, I think we're gonna try and get in some folks to do. So I think if everything works out, we're going to be in a slightly different venue for next week. So again, it will be on the Champion Forge Twitter and in the Discord as well. What's going on there? Yes, we might not be on our own channel, but we will be doing. However it works out, we will be doing a stream at hopefully the same time.
Do you mean BCS because that's next month, not next week?
Oh, is it next month?
Yeah.
Oh, well, in that case,
November.
That's so. All right, well, in that case, you don't have to worry about that for quite a while.
Yeah. If you want to know what we're talking about, join the Discord.
All right, so that's the 22nd of November to the 28th of November.
Yes.
All right, well, in that case, forget everything I said before, because we'll be back here the same bat time, same bat channel. Also, I love the gleam on it as well. Gosh,
Yeah,
that's just. Oh my gosh, this is so much.
I wish I could draw. Like seriously, I wish I was capable enough as a human being to draw because that's so much fun what you're doing.
It's so cursed. I love it.
We need. What can be the response to the honey fruit from last week? Is making me nauseous. I want to have that be a back and forth.
Oh, I
line.
thought I already ate it.
Oh yeah,
I
that
forgot
works.
about it. Like, oh, it's still in there. Oh shit.
Yeah.
No, or like he's like, oh, the honey fruit from last week's making me nauseous. He's like, wait, that's from last month. It's like,
Yay!
huh?
Wait, that's from last month. Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, yeah, nice.
Or he's like, you know, like a little baby, like complaining, like, like I'm so full, I'm so stuffed, and she's like, well, I'm carrying you. What do you think I feel like?
Yeah. So, I feel so bloated, and then I'm carrying you. Shut up. Yes.
Oh, go on then. Let's put more lines in.
I mean, Pete, you got the two of us together. You gotta realize at certain points. this
So
was gonna
these
happen.
are the abilities.
I love it. I love it so goddamn much. The abilities.
All right. Let's get
I'm
these.
really proud of what we're done. Like seriously, I'm really proud of what we've done. And with me, I mean what Roger has.
Yeah, I have to say, like, we can't take too much credit there.
Fucking popsicle.
Yep. It was honestly.
You know what's the best thing? As a murder weapon, the popsicle will melt. Meaning you will.
There's only a giant stick left.
It's just a giant balsa wood stick left.
Oh, God.
Wait, this doesn't make any sense.
All right, should we run through what the art that's available, because we're out of time for today.
Yeah.
So what have we got?
So
This is the Halloween skin, I take it.
yes.
Very cool. Nice. I love that door expression. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
I only wish the handle was inside the math, so you would be forced to reach inside the math every time.
Wait, let me just make it a bit darker in the background.
Oh,
There we
nice.
go. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice.
I really love the orange, you know, the orange veins now.
Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah,
The
I think that's a
pumpkin
really nice
buckle.
idea.
The pumpkin buckle is a very.
The red
nice
hair,
idea.
obviously, you know, my favorite. And then the lace.
So
Yeah.
could we see the could we just see the ability icons again briefly, just for the
For
so there we go.
prosperity's sake, yeah.
Frozen treat. My gosh, that's fantastic. Could we actually? I'll make it a bit bigger. Can we get a flyby on these just to get the close up on how beautiful they are? I'll make this bigger. Whoop. There we go. So that's showing what's going on with my stream setup there. There you go. You get to see them in big end. Absolutely fantastic. So, as a final thing, let's bring this down to reasonable size again. Would you guys mind doing if we go back to the picture again of the two of them together? Yes, there we go. And we'll have this as down here. Let's make this as big as I can get without cutting stuff off the side of the screen. Alright, would you guys mind doing our voice acting auditions for this? Because, you know, it's a real one-stop shop for champion design here.
I imagine I'm the fridge, right? Cause,
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I have an idea with the character then.
Okay.
I imagine he'll speak like. So I'll imagine he'll speak slower and like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So okay.
That's kind of, yeah, I think that makes sense. The kind of frosty, ghouly kind of stuff. So the caps ones are the fridge. The lowercase is thing. But yeah,
Okay.
if you guys
sort of ghoulish then, right?
yeah, I think so. I think ghoulish, but high energy.
Ghoulish but high energy. I'll try.
I mean, look at that face. Look at that face. It's a lovable face.
Okay. So it's very rapid, loud whispering then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Which line are you doing?
Uh,
I'm gonna try something first.
Okay.
Why don't you come and find out? That is, or is that really bad?
That's a little ghosty for me.
Can you do like a little bit like of a growl in it? Like
Why don't you come and find out?
Yeah.
that gives it. Yeah, that gives it. If your voice now is like an octave deeper. Perfect.
Okay, so
Why
Gotta
don't
smoke
you
more.
come and find out?
Yeah, I think that's the right kind of area.
okay, it's literally the same voice I do for everything, but sure, fine.
Typecast, brilliant.
Okay,
All right,
hold on.
so yeah, let's run through the lines from top to bottom. I mean, if you
Gotta
take
try and stay in character because it's really difficult.
if you take a small break between each line, just so you can separate them out if you need to.
Yeah.
But yeah, go for it, Roger. Roger, you are our Cullen.
Okay, so we just go through the lines from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the cold never bothered me anyway. Okay, does the light stay on when the door closes?
Why don't you come and find out? Do I still have some leftovers? Oh, at the very back. The honey fruit from last week is making me nauseous.
Wait, that's from last month.
I feel so bloated.
I'm carrying you, so shut up.
Nice. I think that works. I think I'm a huge fan of the Kindred voice line, so anything that's sort of a little bit like that, I'm down for.
Yeah, I think Kindred and Wolf is so cool the way they did it. It's weird it doesn't. It's such a shame sometimes it didn't come out better because they're really well done. The synergy they have between them.
I think that was definitely a top-down one,
Yeah.
but I think it lost some of the sort of thematic abilities along the way. But still, the actual
I'm pretty sure they even said it themselves at a certain point where they said we really wanted to make Kindred like a Kindred and Wolf character, but we ended up with, well, we kind of have Kindred and Wolf is there, I guess.
Yeah. I think they could easily rework Kindred at some point and end up with more what they were looking for. And I don't think people would be bothered because Kindred is ultimately just her ultimate. Like every other one of her abilities, you could just take or leave it.
Yeah. Besides her ultimate, there's not really something that makes her super original from any other kit. Yeah, true.
All right. Well, that's going to be it for us today. So ignore everything we talked about before in terms of being somewhere else next week. So hopefully we're back here at same rough time, same rough place, with an entirely new creation. Hopefully, we'll be able to get in a special guest to help us out with that, but we'll have to see how things go. Just before we go here today, Exodus, Roger, anything that you'd like to shout out before we head into the bleak darkness of the night?
Well, from my side, I love my color palette. I'm really proud of that, and I'm a fan of what I did. Like,
I think we are too.
One more glance to the abilities because they are gorgeous, and I'm proud.
They really are. They really are.
Hope you guys like the process too and stuff. So, yeah, if you like this, stick around and see what else shenanigans I'm drawing.
So if people want to find you, Roger, I assume that they can type in your current on-screen handle to any platform, and that will find you.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
All right, Exodus, anything which you want to shout out that's coming up?
Nothing really major coming up in the recent events. Still, check out for BCS. That's our charity tournament. Definitely more on that on social medias. And I'll be giving guest lectures about esports at universities and colleges. Not that I imagine my viewers are, or the viewers for this are in Belgium. So I just want to brag.
Yeah,
Fancy now. Fancy.
I literally just want to brag. So.
I mean, I presume that you would do an online lecture if a university or college, wanted to get stuff remote.
There is, I can't say too much about it, but in future there will be online lectures as well. Yes.
That's pretty cool. All right, from my side of things, the only thing is that I've got a TFT competition this coming Saturday 23rd. In the morning, so that's at 10:30 UK time on Saturday 23rd, with the following one on the 6th of November. So that should be quite a lot of fun. That's tiny.cc/CCCTFT. That's Charlie, Tango, Foxtrot, Tango, all in capital letters. Otherwise, I don't think the link works from Tiny. But yeah, I think that pretty much brings everything to an end. So thank you guys so much for coming along. of course, double thanks from myself and Nexus for some truly amazing art, which is gonna blow up the social medias, I'm pretty sure.
It better.
But yeah, we'll see you guys next week at roughly the same time.
You.